Welcome back to Strapzy Shed. We've been out on the road for a little while, started to settle the bike in, got a few more adjustments to do, so come along have a look. Okay, we've had the forks out again, back to Izzy, just for a bit of fine tuning of the high speed compression and damping. Just to emphasise how important it is to change your fork oil every 30, 50,000 Ks or whatever. The fork oil here is 10,000 Ks old, 15,000 maybe, but it definitely needed changing. The problem with non-adjustable forks, of course, is that every time you want to make these changes, they've got to come out. So let's put them back in and put the thing back together again, and we'll head out on the road and just see if the changes we've made are what we want. So here we go. I like to put a little bit of grease on these. Doesn't make the prettiest of jobs, but it puts a film of grease on the inside of the triple clamps, and I find that that's where things like rust gather as you get dust, especially on an adventure bike. So it's already a little bit grubby in there. Not an easy job on your own, but a little bit of grease helps a great deal. So straight up through the top and position it and just quickly nip it up at the top. So I've just got a millimetre there above the line for me to use as a guide. Saves the bloody thing falling out on you, right? Get them to the same place on both sides. It's crucial that they're the same. For some reason Suzuki saw no reason to create this that size. So when you're on the road, how do you get the front axle out? I've got a solution. I chose a bolt with one of these washer type flanges or skirts. That's a perfect fit for the axle. Weld a nut on the end. Now we'll just cut it off so that we can keep it as small as possible for our touring kit. Gonna be hot. In the meantime, we've fitted a set of the new Michelin Anarchy Adventures. Quick spin, make sure it's going all in the right direction. Flash new little tool comes in. 13mm spanner on the end. That's all you need. I can just pop that in my little tool bag now, and I'll always be able to get my front axle out. Pinch bolt in. Pads out. Because they're brake calipers, nice and tight. I've just got to check that I've got an 8mm socket. Again, I'm not going to get in there with a spanner. These are the bolts to check and recheck. I'll put a little bit of tape around my grip just to remind me that I need to pump up my brakes to bring my disc pads in onto my discs at the caliper point there. So that's a little reminder, job done. Put some mirror wideners on, these SW Motec mirror wideners. It consists of this piece and the riser here. All the nuts and bolts were in the little packet, and you know what? It's made a massive difference. ABS isn't that sophisticated on this. I don't know why the Japanese manufacturers don't have switchable ABS on bikes like this. It certainly needs it on dirt roads. I've nutted out a way to turn off the ABS. Now I've seen some really rough and ready ways of doing it on the internet, one of which involves breaking apart a fuse and taking the place of the fuse here. Now that really didn't thrill me, but it's pretty obvious that there's a red and blue wire running out of the bottom of the ABS motor, coming around the back here into a plug that you can see down in behind here. That runs across in a loom here. I just cut that, ran one side to the power side of the relay here, picked up some power, ran a twin cable up to a switch here, and bingo. Bit of heat shrink, a couple of fuses. Safe as houses. As our mates at MC Performance have provided this beautiful stainless slip-on muffler system. As you can see, it's in basically 4 parts, which is going to make it a fair bit easier to fit than the other one was to take off. It's bloody heavy. 6 or 7 kilos, I think, at a guess. I actually haven't got the weight of this, but I think it must be up around about the 2.5 kilos. So we're stripping a fair bit of weight off. It's relatively thin wall and lightweight tubing. Looks really well made. So we're just going to do the manifold up now. Again, starting from the front to the back. And pull it up nice and square. And I left my beautiful 111 piece Honiton toolkit at work. So we're having to go back to the old fashioned Allen keys and open end and ring spanners fix this, and I'm not enjoying it, I can tell you. So as you can see, to get this job done, I've had to remove the bash plate, most of the bracketry of the bash plate to actually get the old exhaust off. So if you're going to make the decision about having an aftermarket pipe, probably not a bad idea to do it before you start fitting all this other stuff. The gas sensor, be careful with this. You don't want to break this or rip this when you're pulling it out. Soak in some penetrating oil or something like that a day or so before, not a bad idea. And it's pretty stiff, so turn it back on itself and let it get itself sorted out and settled in there. As I was saying, make sure you've got a good tool. This is not really the best, but it's all I've got tonight. I was a little concerned at first that the pipe would be running too high for our luggage system, but I think it's going to be alright. We'll just tighten this up and run the clamp around the back here and tighten it up from the bottom. You could do it from here, but it's just not as tidy. I like to do it this way. One of the things I learned as well was I'd finished it all, stood back and had a look, and it was twisted. So I had, there's a trap for new players. Make sure you get bloody things square and straight before you start doing it up. This is a little trick I learned with the cable tie. It saves you losing knuckle claret, but you do have to spend a cable tie to do it. I reckon it's a real good use of the cable tie myself. Trying to do this with levers and spanners, and well, you can buy an official tool, of course, but seriously, for this, it's just hardly worth it. As it was, the pipe was a bit raspy and noisy, so I've capped the end of the baffle and drilled it to suit. It's now quieter and slightly deeper. Kangaroo whistles, do they work? For $5, I reckon it's worth the effort. Just in case they might. As an adventure tourer, it punches well above its weight. Sure, it could have a bit more grunt, and maybe I should consider a power commander, but you've got to stop somewhere. Next time we'll look at our luggage system. Don't forget to like and share. We'll see you next time.